I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingraham Angle. From a very busy Washington tonight, how do you solve a problem like Kamala? That's the focus of tonight's Angle. All right, Biden's COVID diagnosis, as mild as it may be, is still a triggering event for the D.C. establishment. What if something happens to the president and Kamala Harris has to step in? Well, this scenario is a terrifying prospect for anyone who's followed her performance over the past few years. Now, in an administration of punchlines, she's in a class by herself. Last Sunday, during a podcast interview where she managed to make the Democrats' holy grail of abortion sound ever more callous, if that's possible, watch.
You know, listen, women are getting pregnant every day in America, and this is a real issue, and we need to act with a sense of haste about what is at play, what is at stake.
There's a baby at play, just to clarify. Now, at least she didn't do the trademark hyena cackle at the end of that. But she was saving all of that for today in Indianapolis, where she was nervously avoiding any opportunity for Q&A with the press.
So in terms of the format, we'll let the press in. The representative will say a few words, introduce me, I'll say a few words, and then we will bid the press goodbye, and we will get into the nitty-gritty of it all.
Why is that funny? What wasn't funny was her infamous exchange with the press in Poland last March. She was sent there to Eastern Europe, I assume, to reassure our allies over Ukraine, but the only one reassured by her performance was Vladimir Putin.
Is the United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees?
A friend in need is a friend in need.
Yeah, this is just another in a long line of cringeworthy utterances from our VP. Like, even when they use paid child actors to push some NASA initiative, the kids couldn't help save her bad acting.
I just love the idea of exploring the unknown. And then there's other things that we just haven't figured out or discovered yet. To think about so much that's out there that we still have to learn. Like, I love that. You're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes. Oh my goodness. With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable.
Those kids should have been paid double for not laughing there. They obviously couldn't risk just putting her with regular kids in an informal setting because Lord knows what she'd say. This is how she defended teaching kindergartners about sex and gender identity in public schools.
We're going to stand up against a law that says don't say gay, basically restricting kindergarten through third grade teachers in Florida to be able to love openly and teach what they believe is important for people to understand.
Whoa. That teachers should be able to love openly? And to think that I thought reading, spelling, arithmetic, that was what 5-, 6-, and 7-year-olds were supposed to be learning. I don't know. I'm totally out of it. Now, for the Democrats, having a woman as utterly incompetent as Harris as vice president is fraught with political peril. And, of course, for the country, it's a national security nightmare. Now, if Harris has to take over as commander-in-chief, marinate in that for a moment, China's going to take Taiwan in about 30 minutes. Now, the most important security issue facing America on the home front, of course, is our open border. And the White House put her in charge of it. And in June 2021, a friendly reporter asked her a simple question about the issue.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, you know, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't.
If any one answer effectively ended her political career, I would say that should be it. Thus, they work hard to limit her to carefully choreographed events.
Every American, no matter their income, should be able to afford high-speed internet. Right now, the cost of internet is fully covered for millions of Americans. Call 877-384-2575, or if you have access, go to getinternet.gov.
Oh, come on, this isn't fair. This whole monologue's not fair. She got the number right, okay? But Joe would have struggled with that. There are, though, I should say, a few lonely fans of Harris out there. Historian Jeffrey Frank, in a New York Times column, contends that more people would appreciate her many talents if only the White House gave her more to do. There's little evidence that the Biden White House feels much of the urgency felt by General Eisenhower to enhance the role and preparedness of the person who might inherit the presidency at any moment. A historian wrote that, comparing Kamala to Richard Nixon? Yeah, just like Ike and Nixon. If Nixon was actually known to sound like a total bubblehead, Kamala's lips move and words come out, and she manages to say absolutely nothing.
When we discuss this issue and when we contemplate what it means, understand that it could have a profound impact on just about everyone in our country who has any association or interest or concern about these various issues.
You see what I mean? Now, the White House, they're not shrinking Kamala's portfolio because they don't like her personally. They are doing it because she's terrible. She's relegated to safe appearances or interviews with those groundbreaking journalists at Glamour, The Skim, and something called Refinery 29. That was on her portfolio today. So also ask yourself this. If Democrat insiders thought Vice President Harris was the future of the party, why would she be burning staff at the current rate she's burning it? On social media, they call this the Kexodus. Here's the list and counting. Now, these aren't minor figures. These people are her senior staff. Now, National Review put it plainly. If you're a Kamala Harris fan who feels like she's being snubbed, ignored, shunted aside, or underutilized, it's not the GOP or Fox News. This is all on Biden, or at least Biden's senior staff. Look, they don't like her. They don't respect her. They know she's a drag on an already dragged down president. Now, of course, we all know why Biden selected her in the first place, though.
And I commit that I will, in fact, I'll pick a woman to be vice president. There are a number of women who are qualified to be president tomorrow. I would pick a woman to be my vice president.
It was more important for Biden to achieve the first female woman of color as vice president, than to actually pick someone for his or her experience and intellect. Now the Democrats in the country are in a serious bind. So how do you solve a problem like Kamala? Well, there's no easy answer. But I can assure you that the senior Democrats in this town are spending a lot of time racking their brains about what to do. As for Biden himself, having Kamala a heartbeat away from the presidency may actually have been an ingenious move. Governor DeSantis has a theory.
I thought Biden picking her at first was like the worst decision ever because she's not great, but she's like the best impeachment insurance and 25th Amendment insurance anyone could have. Because as bad as Biden is, even though he can barely read the teleprompter, and as much as people disapprove of him, nobody wants Harris.
And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.